So in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah, we will enter into the chapter of ablution. So last week we spoke about the sunnahs in purification, that is pertaining to using the siwak. We spoke about using of the siwak. We spoke about likewise on using other means of cleansing our teeth with something like the function of the siwak. Then we spoke about the things that are makruh, that makruh for a person to shave only a part of one's hair, for example, plucking of grey hair, plucking of the beard, to walk wearing one side of the sandal. All these are negated in the hadith as what we mentioned. So now inshallah ta'ala we will enter into this particular chapter within the chapter of purification, that is on the integrals of ablution. So before we continue, the author mentioned furudul wudu. So here we are speaking about integrals, and the meaning of integrals, these are the obligatory acts that you perform in a particular ibadah. So there is a difference between fard and shart. So when we say fard, it is an obligation which is obligatory for you to perform in that particular act of worship. Whereas when you say shart and a condition, it is an obligation that you have to perform before you perform a particular act of ibadah. So let me give you an example. For example, washing of the face in wudu is fard. Washing of the face is fard, integral. But to use water that is mutlaq, that's what we mentioned before this, we must make sure that the water that we use is water that is mutlaq. Now this is a condition. This is a condition. So before you take wudu, you must make sure that the water that you are using is mutlaq. So this condition is an obligation, but it is not part of the ablution. So we call it a condition. So this basically a simple difference between a condition and an integral. So when we speak about integrals, we are speaking about the obligatory acts that we perform in a particular ibadah. So the author mentioned that in ablution there are 6 integrals, and this is wajib upon every Muslim to memorize. Wajib upon every Muslim to memorize all these integrals. So it is easy. And to memorize 6 things is easy, and these are the things that we do every day. And it is important for us to differentiate between what is fard and what is sunnah. And our ulama mentioned that if a person cannot differentiate what is fard and what is sunnah in an ibadah, his ibadah is not valid. For example, if a person says that washing of the face is sunnah, for example, but he washes the face, his wudu is not valid. Because why? He cannot differentiate between what is wajib and what is sunnah, and he thought something that is wajib and to be sunnah. He thought it's something that is wajib to be sunnah. This will make the ablution will not become valid. So altogether there are 6 things. Number 1, al-awwal niyyatu raf'il hadath aw at-taharati lis-salati aw nahwi dhalika 'inda ghaslil wajhi. So number 1, the intention to leave the state of minor ritual impurity. Now this is terminologies in fiqh which is important for us to understand. So if you are learning books in fiqh, you will certainly come across these terminologies. So the first one, the author is speaking about the obligation of intention. This is the first integral. So the author said, Niyatu raf'il hadath, the intention to lift a minor ritual impurity. Yani intention yani to remove a minor ritual impurity. طيب, what is this meaning? To remove yani a minor ritual any impurity. The situation then is this, yani if you do not have ablution, meaning you have done something that make your ablution invalidate. For example, a person and he goes into the toilet and for example, now the ablution and now has been invalidated. So there is no wudu. So when a person and he does not have wudu, we say he is in a state of hadath. What is this meaning any of hadath? Our ulama any mention hadath any is amrun i'tibari. Yani something any that is understood, which is which exists in a person, that when he purify any himself, this thing will be lifted any upon him. Yani now any if a person any is in a state any of not in a state of ablution, now he is any in a state any of having any this hadath. This any hadath. It is something any that is non-existent and in essence, but something any that can be imagined and understood. That it is like any something that is imaginary, that is within you. The moment any you purify in yourself, and it becomes any uplifted away any from you. So this is any basically any the meaning any of al hadath. Al hadath. So when you make any the intention to remove any this hadath in your body by purifying any yourself, this is the meaning of this intention. Niyatu raf'il hadath, that you make any the intention to remove this minor ritual impurity. Why any he say minor ritual impurity? Because ritual impurity hadath any there are two types. We have minor and major. We have hadath that is al-asrar, the minor any hadath, and we have hadath al-akbar, that is a major hadath. The major hadath any when we speak any about bathing any the ritual bath, any when a person is in a state of janaba. So when you are in a state where you do not any have wudu any, for example, yani you have not any wash any your face in wudu, there is hadath any on your face, but this is imaginary, amrun i'tibari, meaning you cannot see. When you look at any other person, you do not know whether this particular person has wudu or does not have wudu. You cannot see any with your naked eyes, but the hadath any is there. Some many of the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah bless them with miracles, they are able any to see. This is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani I still remember in Hadramaut, so many of the ulama, yani one of their miracles is that they are able to know whether you are in a state of wudu or you are not in a state of al wudu. And one of them is Al Habib Hasan al-Shatri rahimahullah. Habib Hasan al-Shatri, and he is one of those, and when he look at the person, yani he can tell that this particular person and he has no wudu. And some of the students and he also, mashallah, and he are blessed and he with this karama. And this is happening. Now, the thing any about miracles, you see, some people and you have some skepticism any about miracles. But the thing is, when you encounter any yourself, and then you come into a state of conviction. So it is within any there the mumkinat. As what we study in Aqidah, that al-karama is within the possibilities. Taib. So when we make the intention to remove this minor ritual impurity, this is what is meant. Niyatu raf'il hadathi, the intention to lift the state of minor ritual impurity. Hadas al-asra, meaning that if I take ablution and when water touches in my face, this is another thing about niyyah. The thing about niyyah, al-qasdu muqtarinun bil fi'l. Yani the meaning of niyyah, it is an intention that is accompanied by action. That is why our ulama, in our mother al-Imam Shafi especially, when we speak about taking any ablution, it is wajib upon us to intend when water reaches the face. Why? Because now is the time that your intention is accompanied by action. Washing of the face is the first obligatory action in ablution. So that is why we have to accompany it with a niyyah. So I always mention there is a difference between a niyyah and azam. A niyyah and azam. Azam is intention without iqtiran al-fi'l. Not with the action. So an example of azam, for example, before you take any ablution, you make the intention of ablution. This is not niyyah. This is azam. And it is not valid. Azam, in ibadah, is not valid based on the prevailing judgment in our madhab. The madhab of Imam Shafi is strict pertaining to intention. Likewise in prayers also we speak about an-niyyah al-qasdu muqtarinun bil fi'l, that it has to be done when we perform the takbir and so on and so forth. And this is one of the important usul in our madhab, and all this is derived from the linguistic argument about the meaning of niyyah. What is the meaning of niyyah? So our scholars of madhab Imam Shafi and he gave the definition of al-qasdu muqtarinun bil fi'l. And because of this we have differences amongst the other madhab on the part where we intend. So if a person wants to take wudu, when water reaches the face and he says nawaitu raf'al hadathil asghar lillahi ta'ala. This the example. Some of us make this intention. In English we say I make the intention to lift the minor ritual impurity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, is enough. Or we say nawaitu taharata lis salah. That's what the author mentioned. The second part. He said or to make the intention of purification for prayer. We say nawaitu taharata lis salah. I make the intention for purification lis salah, to perform the prayers. Now it is wajib. Or we say nawaitu ada'a fardil wudu. I make the intention to perform the obligation of wudu, the obligation of ablution. All this are valid. So what is important is, he said inda ghaslil wajhi. This is what he said. To make the intention of purification for prayer, or something equivalent. Something equivalent to prayer. Now we answer the question, what are the acts of ibadah which is wajib upon us to make to have wudu? Of course prayers is one of it. What are the other types of ibadah that is wajib for us to be in the state of ablution? Tawaf for example. Nawaitu taharata lit tawaf. It is valid. Because tawaf wajib for you to be in a state of ablution. So when you make this intention, you are saying that I make the intention of the obligation of wudu, because for doing tawaf wudu is wajib. For performing prayers wudu is wajib. So here the author mentioned aw nahwi dhalika, niyyatu raf'il hadathi aw taharati lis salati aw nahwi dhalika, to remove the minor ritual impurity. Nawaitu taharata lis salati, nawaitu taharata lit tawafi inda ghaslil wajhi, at the point when a person starts washing of the face. For those who wants to write down notes, now this is one of the important usul in our madhab pertaining to the definition of an-niyyah, that intention must be accompanied by action. That is why he mentioned when a person wash the face, because washing of the face is the first action which is compulsory in the integrals of wudu. So this is point number one, an-niyyah. Yani the first any integral. And then the author mentioned an extension to the first integral. He speaks about those who are suffering from urinary incontinence. We pray that Allah bless us with afiyah and salama, because this kind of sickness, subhanallah, it is something that is, what you call it, can be difficult for people. If a person cannot control the urine. So he speaks about the situation of a person who is suffering from this sickness. What is the sickness? Urinary incontinence. In Arabic we call it salasil baul. Salisul baul or salasul baul. Urinary incontinence. For those who are suffering from this kind of disease, or chronic vaginal discharge, istihada for example, later on inshallah when we enter into the chapter of menses, we will speak about chronic vaginal discharge, to differentiate between menses and istihada. In Arabic we call it istihada, between hayd and istihada. So the ruling is the same as salasil baul. So now we have a situation that a person cannot keep his wudu, meaning because he's constantly sometimes facing this issue, cannot control the urine. So for this person there is a special ruling. The author mentioned wayanwi salisul bauli wa nahwihi istibahata fardis salati wa in tawadda'a li sunnati nawa istibahata salati. So now if a person is experiencing this disease of salisul baul, then he have to make a different kind of intention. What is the intention that he makes? So in Arabic, the way he intend is nawaitu istibahata. If you can see this, nawaitu istibahata fardis salah. This is in a situation that if we are performing the obligatory prayer, so we make the intention of istibaha. This word is important, ya jama'ah. Istibaha. Please memorize this, because in the chapter of tayammum we will also come across this, because in tayammum also you make the same intention, nawaitu istibahata fardis salah. So please pay attention to this particular word. The translation is coming, but basically the meaning of istibaha is to make mubah. And that's the meaning of istibah in the Arabic language. Istibaha comes from the word mubah, and mubah is permissible. Is to make permissible. To make any permissible of what? To make any wudu becomes permissible upon him, even though the urine goes out from his body, the wudu is still valid upon him, and it is still permissible for him to perform the prayers. So this is basically the meaning of istibaha. But the thing about making the intention of istibaha, number one, you have to see the prayers that you are performing, is it wajib or sunnah? This is what the author mentioned. If it is a wajib prayers, then you have to mention fardis salah, istibahata fardis salah. Nawaitu istibahata fardis salah. There must be the fard. This is the word fard. Nawaitu istibahata fardis salah. So if you want to perform the wajib prayer, istibahata fardis salah. But he said, wa in tawadda'a li sunnah, if he takes any wudu to perform the sunnah prayers, nawa istibahata salah. So what is the difference here? Now here got no fard, correct or not? Down here istibahata fardis salah. here yani we have istibahatas salah without the fard. So this is the difference any between the fard prayers and the sunnah prayers. So in Arabic, any this is how any day make any the intention. Nawaitu istibahata fardis salah or nawaitu istibahata salah. So let us look any other translation. For one who has urinary incontinence and is like wa nahwihi, and is like, and what is the example? Like what I mentioned earlier. For example, we have chronic vaginal discharge. Just a few days ago, someone asked about incontinence and in farting, and there are people, and subhanallah, may Allah bless us with afiyah, that they cannot control any the fart, especially this happens to old people, and this is also difficult. But of course, urinary incontinence is more difficult. Likewise, if a person, for example, has incontinence in farting, he also will make this particular intention. So chronic vaginal discharge, when it comes to istihada, when it comes to salis al-bawl, or salas, when it comes to this feces, incontinence and so on, if that happens, all this we can apply the ruling of al-istibaha. For one who has urinary incontinence and is like, one has to intend permission to perform the obligation of prayers. This is basically the meaning of istibaha. One has to intend permission to perform the obligation of prayer. For prayers. But what is important we understand the meaning of istibaha. And when he performs any ablution for recommended acts, these are the sunnah acts, then he has to intend permission to perform the prayer, and without the fard. Clear, inshallah. That is why I take the trouble to go back into the Arabic text, and otherwise you got no idea what is the author is speaking about. For those who you do not have the notes with you, so what you can do, inshallah, write it down. Because now you can write it down. The more you write, the easier you can memorize. So if you are really serious to learn Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah, get a notebook and pen. So you can write down the translation, and also you can write down the explanation. Now when we go on to the next one. So this is the first integral. I hope it is clear, inshallah. If you have any questions, Allahu Alam, those who are in the WhatsApp group can ask. Now when we go on to the second integral. When it comes to the Isha prayers, I have to stop because I'm the Imam for the Isha prayers. So our time now is quite limited. But inshallah, I do not want to rush into things. The thing is, even we study for small amount of time. But what is important is to take away. This is the thing, we have to knowledge, and we have to put in effort to understand, inshallah. Even if it is a bit, inshallah, there will be barakah, inshallah. The second integral, he said, Athani ghaslul wajhi. Ghaslul wajhi. Washing of the face. And the meaning of face, he said, وَحَدُّهُ مَا بَيْنَ مَنَابِتِ شَعْرِ رَأْسِهِ وَمُقْبِلِ ذَقَنِهِ وَمَا بَيْنَ أُذُنَيْهِ. This is basically the boundary of the face. The boundary of the face is the area that is between the hairline of the forehead. This is the hairline of the forehead, all the way to the chin. So this is the length. And ear to ear, ear to ear. So all this within the boundary of the face. Your nose, your eyes, your lashes, your eyebrows, your mustache, the beard that goes from your chin. This is part of your face, and this is the thing that some people they are not aware of, because they thought that, beard and is beard, face and is face. No, because now any hairs any that go from the boundary any of your face is part any of the face. So it's wajib for you to wash any the part of the beard that comes out any from the boundary any of your face. Clear any, inshallah. Likewise any the mustache, and even if a person has a long any mustache, any for example the mustache and goes all the way to the arms, is it wajib any for him to wash any the mustache? Yes. Why? Because it comes any from the face, even though part any of the mustache and it goes out of the boundary any of the face, but it originates any from the face. So when it originates from the face, and it is part any of the face. Likewise any pertaining to beard, and if you have any a beard that goes any in front any of your chin, even though it can be 1 meter long, it is part any of your face. Clear, inshallah. This is a thing that sometimes people are not aware of, especially any people when they have big beards. They have to be careful when comes any all this, inshallah. Later, inshallah, the author will speak about pertaining to thick hair and thin hair. But basically what I'm trying to say is that everything that is within the boundary of your face, it is wajib for you to do ghusl. What is the meaning of ghusl? Yani water flows. That's the difference between wiping and washing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha qumtum ila salati farsilu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq wamsahu bi ru'usikum wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. O believers, when you want to perform any of the prayers, now this is the integral of intention. When you want to perform when you intend to perform any of the prayers, idha qumtum ila salah farsilu wujuhakum, yani the first action is to wash any of the face. So there is a difference between irsilu and imsahu. Irsilu yani water flows. Imsahu, like Allah said, wamsahu bi ru'usikum, yani wipe any part of your head. So what we have to do is just wet your hands and wipe your head. This is imsah, masaha. But ghasala, yani water must flow. So when it comes to the face, it is ghusl and it is not masah. Ghuslul wajhi. Ghuslul wajh. There is a difference between ghuslun and ghuslun. There is a bit of difference. When we say ghuslu, yani it is mutaaddi, yani to wash something. But ghusl is the act of washing. Clear, inshallah. So there is no harm saying ghusl and ghusl, but of course we have to look at the context. So here the author mentioned ghuslul wajhi, yani washing of al-wajh. And the reason al-wajh is called wajh because tuwajihu bihi. The meaning of wajh is to face. So the thing that the body part that is always facing something is your face. That is why face is called wajh, al-wajh. And in Malay also we take from Arabic. In Malay we say face is wajh. So in Arabic it means the body part that you face with. So to wash the face, so we have to make sure that water enters into every part of the face. And pertaining to the boundaries, it is wajib that we increase to come to a conviction. We increase to come to a conviction. What is the meaning? You have to come to a conviction that you have washed your face. So how can you come to that conviction? By washing part of the boundaries over the boundaries of your face. Then only you come to the conviction. So it is wajib. So that is why we say it is wajib to wash part of your ear. When you wash your face, wajib to wash part of your ear, part of your head, part. Why is wajib? Because you will not be able to come to a conviction if you do not wash that part, even though it is not part of the face. But in order for you to come to a conviction that you have washed your face, it is by washing beyond a bit of the boundary above your face, the boundary of your face. So there is a qaida in fiqh which says ma la yatimmul wajibu illa bihi fahuwa wajibun. If a particular act cannot be accomplished except by performing something, that something becomes wajib. Because otherwise you cannot fulfill that commandment. You cannot fulfill that yani obligation. So I hope it is clear yani inshallah. I would love yani that we there's so many interaction, but what to do? It seems yani to have any Q&A also difficult. Ala kulli hal. This is the integral number 2. The area that is between the two. I hope it is clear inshallah. Then the author explained further. What is this face? What are the body parts that are within this face? So he said, فَمِنْهُ الْغَمَمْ وَمِنْهُ الْغَمَمْ side of the forehead. This is any part of the face. Al-hudb, the eyelashes, eyebrows, mustache, sideburn. Sideburn is a hair that goes on your cheek. So all these are hairs of your face. So we have to wash them. So if it is a thick hair, what you have to do is to wash the outer part. But if it is with thick hair, what you have to do is to wash the outer part. If it is a thin hair, you have to wash the outer and the inner part. So if your eyebrow is thick, normally our eyebrows are thick. Thick meaning what? Meaning when you look at a person in a distance that you are talking to him, a takhatub, you cannot see the skin underneath. This is thick hair. But if you can see the skin underneath this thin hair, now there is a difference in ruling. When it comes to thin hair, it is wajib for you to wash zahir and batin, the outward and also the inward. Meaning until the water reaches the skin underneath. But if it is a thick hair, it is not wajib for you to make sure that water reaches the skin, otherwise it becomes difficult for people. But what is wajib is to wash the outer part. So when it comes to eyebrows it's part of your face, your eyelashes for example. So that is why nowadays people ask, for example, I'm using this eyeliner and it is waterproof. Can I use it? If it is waterproof and water cannot enter it, then your wudu is not valid. So these are the things that we have to be careful. So do not use any eyeliners that are waterproof. They are eyeliners and they are not. They are not waterproof. Sometimes some people they do not know. You see, they do not know that this eyeliner is waterproof. Some people, for example, I've this an experience I have a friend from Middle East he came and then he went shopping for example to buy something for the wife and he cannot read English. So he saw this eyeliner and the sales assistant and he was saying this is a good brand and all these things. So he bought and then after that we look and it is waterproof. We are not saying it's haram to use to use it, but these are the things that you have to do. Meaning, if it is waterproof, meaning when you take wudu and the question we ask, does the water reaches the lashes, the eyelashes does not reach. So it does not reach then your wudu is not valid. So likewise pertaining to what we put especially for women for example, what we put at our forehead, for not our eyebrows, and then certain types of makeup. For example, some of the people also asking that they use any makeup, for example, and they want to take wudu. So all this goes back into the question: does the ingredient, does the thing that is used on the face does it prevent water from reaching the skin, or it does not prevent water reaching the skin? So if you understand this concept, then it becomes much easier. A lot of problems can be solved, because otherwise you'll be asking again and again. New product comes and you're asking, can I use this product? Can I use this product? Can I use this product? To make things simple, as long as it is not najis and it is not any from filth, and it is not any waterproof. If it is waterproof, you can use it, but when it comes to wudu, you have to be careful. You have to remove it. But if it is not any waterproof, then alhamdulillah, then no problem. Yani you can take wudu, and so on and so forth. Wal anfaqah. Wanfaqah yani is the hair that is below yani the mouth. Wa basharan sha'ran. And hair that goes under the lips, it also includes the skin underneath. What is any meaning of skin any underneath? Any meaning? Now, if I have a mustache, the skin underneath any the mustache, this is what it is meant. Yani, if it is a thin one, that's why he said, wa in kasufa, wal anfaqa wa basharan, sha'ran wa in kasufa, wa sha'ru lihyati, wa sha'ru al-aridaini. Now, there is a, what you call it, a jumble up. And sometimes this happens in the, what you call it, in the Arabic text. Ala kulli hal. Let us look at the translation. And the hair that goes under the lower lips, it also includes the skin underneath. And the hairs, it also includes the skin underneath. And the hairs, even though it is thick, yani, it is wajib for us to wash the hairs, the outer part, even though it is thick. Beard and hair that is along the jawline is also included. That's what I mentioned. Anything then the hairs that comes out from the boundary of the face, it is wajib that you wash it. If the hair is thin, it is compulsory to wash the hairs and the skin beneath it. Now, if the hair is thin, is what I mentioned, that you can see the skin, that you can see the skin underneath. But if it is thick, then that's what you mentioned below. Washing the outer layer would. Washing the outer layer would suffice. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Wallahu alam. Let me see if there is any question. If you have any question, maybe you can put any at the comments, if there is. If there is no question, inshallah, I think there are some. Let me see. There's a question and he asks, Salam Ustaz, wa alaikum salam. If someone has sickness such as difficulty holding the fart, this I mentioned, yes, it is the same. But there are certain differences when it comes to urinary incontinence, when it comes into washing of the private parts. When it comes to urinary incontinence, you have to wash the private parts, then you put on something that prevents the urine from flowing. Then you have to take wudu immediately and pray immediately. But when it comes to incontinence in farting, there is no need to wash the private parts because there is no najis. So what the person has to do is to immediately take wudu after the coming of the adhan of the time of prayer. So when the adhan comes in, then only he can take wudu. Then immediately perform the prayers. This is muala. In Arabic we call it muala, immediate. Okay, that's it. That is the only question that I see. So inshallah, we will stop here, and we will continue next week, inshallah. The adhan of Isha has just come in, and we close our majlis with a short dua. ربنا تقبل دعانا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واختم بالصالحات أعمالا وآلنا الله يا كريم بفضل سبحان ربك بالعزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين تقبل الله منكم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. chapter any of purification, that is on the integrals any of ablution. So before any we continue, the author any mentioned fu'udul wudu. So here we are speaking any about integrals, and the meaning any of integrals, these are the obligatory acts any that you perform any in a particular ibadah. So there is a difference any between fard and shart. So when we say fard, it is an obligation which is obligatory for you to perform in that particular act of worship. Whereas when you say shart and a condition, it is an obligation that you have to perform before you perform a particular act of an ibadah. So let me give you an example. For example, washing any of the face any in wudu is fard. Washing any of the face any is fard, integral. But to use water any that is mutlaq, that's what we mentioned any before this. We must make sure any that the water any that we use is water that is mutlaq. Now this is a condition. This is any condition. So before you take any wudu, you must make sure that the water that you are using is mutlaq. So this any condition is an obligation, but it is not part any of the ablution. So we call it a condition. So this is basically a simple any difference any between a condition and an integral. So when we speak any about integrals, and we are speaking any about the obligatory acts that we perform in a particular ibadah. So the author and he mentioned that in ablution there are 6 integrals, and this is wajib upon every Muslim to memorize. Wajib any upon every Muslim to memorize any all this any integrals. So it is easy. And to memorize any 6 things is easy, and these are the things that we do every day. And it is important for us to differentiate between what is fard and what is sunnah. And our ulama mentioned that if a person cannot differentiate what is fard and what is sunnah in an ibadah, as ibadah is not valid. And for example, if a person says that washing any of the face is sunnah, for example, but he washes any of the face, his wudu is not valid. Because why? He cannot differentiate between what is wajib and what is sunnah, and he thought something that is wajib and it to be sunnah. He thought it's something that is wajib to be sunnah. This would